You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the January 28th, 2025 meeting of the LaPorte County Regional Sewer and Water District Board. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Okay, calling the meeting of the January 28th LaPorte County Regional Sewer District to order. If everybody could please rise and salute the flag. Jerry.
Sorry. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Trying to missile kick me, take me out with the chair, what else?
Sorry, buddy.
All right, Jennifer, can we have roll call, please?
John Carr,
Here.
Barry Jackson,
Here.
Marcella Kunstick,
Here.
Mitch Bishop,
Here.
Corey Campbell,
Here.
Mark Danielson,
Present.
Amanda Laners, here, all present.
Okay, first thing on the agenda is the election of officers for 2025. The current officers are John Carr's president, Mitch Bishop vice president, Marcella Kunstick treasurer, and Jerry Jackson secretary. So at this time, I will open the floor up for nominations for president. Are there any nominations for president?
I make a nomination of John Carr.
Second.
Do we need to vote on that nomination? Any other nominations for president? Any other nominations for president? Okay, nominations for president are closed. Vice president.
I nominate Mitch Bishop.
Second.
Any other nominations for vice president? Any nominations for vice president? Nominations for vice president are closed. Treasurer?
I nominate Marcella Kunchek.
Second.
We got a motion and a second for Marcella. Are there any other nominations for treasurer? Any more nominations for treasurer? Nominations are now closed. Secretary?
Make a motion for Jerry Jackson.
Second.
We got a motion and a second for Jerry Jackson. Any other nominations for secretary? Any more nominations for secretary? Nominations for secretary now closed. Okay. Officers are the same as last year. Moving on to approval of legal counsel, financial counsel, and district engineer.
Kind of want to wait for Barry. Do you guys want to do that now or?
I don't know.
We can do it now.
We can just do it now, get it done. Make a motion for legal counsel with Barry
Donald?
McDonald.
Second.
We got motion and second to retain Barry McDonald as our legal counsel. Any questions on the motion? Proceed to vote. All those in favor signify by word aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Financial counsel.
Make a motion for Steve Carter.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and second to retain Steve Carter with, is it Crone and Associates? Motion and second. Proceed to vote. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor signify by the word aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. And district engineer.
Have we named the firm in the past, or have we named a particular member of the firm?
I don't.
I think it's been the firm, right? GPR?
Yeah,
Just-
firm.
Yeah.
Are you on this meeting, dude?
Yep. Okay, so is there,
Nominate JPR.
Second.
we have a motion and second to retain JPR's district engineer. Any questions on the motion? Proceed to vote. All those in favor signify by word aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Okay, that takes care of that. Moving on to approval of the minutes from December 17th, 2024.
It's gonna be pipe for
Motion to approve the minutes as presented.
And then we have the, okay, so we, Jennifer, are you controlling that?
I muted it.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from December 17th,
Sorry, I
2024.
missed to motioned and approved because I was muting. Motion,
Who made the motion?
I did. Oh,
no, the minutes.
I made the motion for the minutes.
And then second,
Mitch.
Mitch. Okay, sorry.
Okay, proceed to vote on the minutes from December 17th, 2024. All those in favor signify by word aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Minutes from January 21st, 2025, special meeting we had last week.
Motion to approve those minutes as presented.
I second.
We got a motion and a second to approve the minutes from January 21st, 2025. Any questions on the motion? Proceed to vote. All those in favor signify by word aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Okay, next item on the agenda is public comment. Anyone wishing to speak needs to state their name and address for the record, and we'll have 3 minutes to speak. Keep in mind, I know there's some people here from the public. We are going to have an update on the projects we have moving forward. So we will allow for possibly some comments then too. But if you guys are here for public comment, by all means, come on up and state your name and address for the record. Anybody here for public comment?
Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
My name is Luann Smith and I live at 5777 East Saugana Trail in Rolling Prairie. We currently, people from Saugany Lake, have close to 100 petitions signed by homeowners of Saugany Lake opposing the forced installation of the sewer system. Homeowners should have the option to hook up as long as they have a good working septic. The cost of hooking up and the monthly fee will be a financial burden to many. We understand that there are homes at Saugany that have failing septics, but why are all of us being required to hook up? We propose that the people that live directly on the lake have their septics tested to see if they are contaminating the lake, and if they fail, they would be required to either repair their current system or hook up. If we are being forced to hook up, where's the evidence that our lake is being contaminated? It seems to me that if you're trying to convince homeowners that they need a sewer system, you would provide evidence that our lake is being contaminated. In your September 2024 meeting, the question was raised about how many homes are directly on the lake. This was asked in the discussion in regards to a tiered rate. There are 49 homes on the lake and 3 to 4 of them are inhabitable. Of those 49 homes, only 14 are residents year round. So basically we have about 28 people that live on the lake all year. And by the way, your calculation of having the on the lake homeowner paying about $150 a month and taking the burden off the off lake homeowner paying $50 a month just does not compute. If we take your number of 275 homes and you're originally saying that the rate was going to be $103 a month, that comes out to $28,325. That leaves 225 homes at $50 a month, which equals $11,300. That means that the remaining 49 on the lake homes would have to pay $347, not the $150 per month that you that JPR was calculating to get your total of $28,325. I'm not sure how the idea came about that the majority of the people that live on the lake are asking for the sewer system, because I have petitions from the majority of the on-lake homeowners that are not in favor of this forced system. I realize this probably all changes since the scope of the new plan is to hook up only 86 homes at this time. So basically you are hooking up 49 lakefront homes and 37 off-lake homes. Only 40 to 50% of these homes on Saugany Lake are year-round homes. The others typically come out on weekends from Memorial Day to Labor Day and perhaps a week or two during the summer months. So these people are paying for something they only use a couple months out of the entire year. This seems like an astronomical amount of money to spend on approximately 32 year-round homes and about 54 homes that are occupied a few months out of the year. How do we even know that we're going to get the funding to complete the rest of this project? We're also concerned about the type of system you are proposing. Grinder pumps are not only expensive, but very high maintenance and have a relatively short lifespan. Have you looked into alternative systems that are more economical and have more longevity than a grinder pump system? And I have these petitions, but I have a lot more coming, so I would like to hold on to them. But if you want a copy of what we sent out, you can have this.
Thank you.
Can you email that information to me if I provide you with my
Sure.
email address?
Yep, I'd be happy to.
What you read there?
Okay, I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
Want me to?
I'll give it to you after the meeting.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Angela Eggleston, and I just got some concerns with the fact,
Can you provide your address?
yeah, it's 5311 East 800 North, Rolling Prairie, Indiana, 46371.
Eggleston?
Yes. So I live on a county road, I have acreage, and I think it's unfair that my family and I, who live along that stretch, who have acreage, a 100-year storm would not even affect the lake or the lake water, but we are being mandated to tie into a sewer system when we have a fully inspected sewage system that's been verified as being good, operational, nothing needed. Why do I have to be mandated to do this? Wouldn't it be more feasible to take care of the homes around the lake that are causing any type of contamination? If they are, nobody has given us any evidence of contamination. So is that lake, because that lake has been voted one of the cleanest lakes in Indiana. So now why are we going hog wild on spending the county and the taxpayers' money to put this system in? There is no evidence. And if it is, why can't we make those people, or take the money that you're going to get and help the people get those septic systems fixed and taken care of that are around the lake? I mean, this is unreal what we're doing. And it's come to my attention that there are people that have come to you guys proposing that we do this, that's a desperate need, and that we were all for it. I don't know how anybody can speak on all of our behalf like that. You can see the evidence is in the writing there. We've got a lot of people who are against it that know we don't need that. Can we take those people into consideration before we move forward and spend a lot of money that we don't need to do right now? There's other places to spend that money. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Robert Smith, and I live at 577 East Saugana Trail. This is what you're proposing to put off those grinder pumps, and you're going to push solids through here. It's going to fail. It does fail. I've got proof that it's failed for many years, and you still want to push them in here? It's wrong. The thing of it is JPR, are you with JPR? You are? How can you sit there and try to push people to do this? I think it was your president that was here last week on the 21st saying that, forced people to do this, to sign on these. We've got people that we run around with our petitions. They've signed the easement, but I'm going to tell you what, they thought that they were forced to and they had to do it. You don't have to do that. This is crazy to make older people feel like they have to sign something or else they're going to be in trouble. It's wrong. But anyway, there is a system out there, and I don't know why you've never seen anything about it, but it's called liquid sewer, and it's called a step system. And that step system works like our septic system at the lake, and we live on the lake. It is a 1,000-gallon poop tank, and then it goes into a 2,000-gallon gray water tank, and then it pumps out into the field. So it's fantastic, and we have it inspected, cleaned every other year, and you have to. But if you look into liquid sewer systems, you can see that environmentally it is a much better system than anything you propose. These grinder systems are just something to fail. And the maintenance on them, the hourly work that the men have to come out and fix these grinder pumps is totally a waste of time. The grinder systems aren't as good as the gravity systems, but gravity systems do a lot more damage. They're going to tear up a lot more stuff. But a liquid sewer system does hardly any damage at all. You don't have all the expense to the homeowners, and I think you need to look at that because I think you are trying to get new bids now. Is this correct? If you're going to do something for the people. Don't just throw a system out there and tell everybody that they got to jump on it like the president of JPR. I'll tell you what, I just think that's wrong. to have somebody sit there and force people, this is your final letter. It's wrong to do that to people. These are older people that we have out there. They don't need that. They don't need that at all. It's wrong. So anyway, I hope you consider, if you do want to shove it up our backside, please consider the liquid sewer system and not a grinder. And I'll tell you what, you don't have to spend all that money on the wastewater treatment plant either. So, and I think Chris probably knows about a liquid sewer system, don't you? You don't? Well, if you would, I'd appreciate you checking into it because you are wastewater management, aren't you? Isn't that what your company is? I'd appreciate it very much. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. You don't have to respond.
Morning.
Good morning.
I'm Mike Engels. Basically, I have a question.
What's
is
your
the
name and-
reason? What is the
Name and
purpose
address,
of a-
please.
Pardon?
Your name and address?
I'm sorry. Mike Engels, 5648 East Saugana Trail, Rowanbury. I just have questions. What is the purpose of the sewer system? Are we polluting the lake? Is that the problem? Because I can clearly remember Fish Lake went through this where they said they were polluting the lake. God put a sewer system in. They put in a grinder system. Nothing but trouble. Didn't do anything for the lake. I just want to understand why we're doing this. And Mr. Smith stated a good point there. There's lots of problems trying to put a sewer system in because of the change in elevations. People have invested thousands of dollars in their existing septic systems that work fine. And I just don't understand it. And one thing that would be a big improvement, I think, at the lake would be to have some porta potties at both of the beaches that are there, because there's nothing. And you can't tell me these people are going to walk all the way home to go pee. So that would be one thing that would be nice to address at the lake, if you're worried about pee-pees in the lake. It's one of the cleanest lakes. I've been there basically my whole life, since 10 years old. And granted, there is some algae on the weeds and stuff, and if that's alarming, that's all runoff from lawn treatments and stuff like that. That's really all I got to say. I think that I just know of some instances, boy, to reroute, and I just can't see it ever working. It's gonna make them have to reroute their pipe out of their house, and all these tremendous expenses to get hooked up to a sewer system that, to me, doesn't sound like a great idea, especially with the change, like I say, in elevation and pumping action and shred. It just sounds like a loser to me, and I just don't understand why it's being put in. But other than a monthly fee for everybody and a great expense to hook up.
Thank you. Comments and any comments there? Oh, sorry.
My name is Mark Hewer. I live at 5791 East Saugana Trail. I live on the water. My family has been coming, my wife's family has been coming out here since the 1940s. We have 6 family homes around Saugany Lake, 2 on the water, 4 off the water. We've never heard of any issues with regards to the cleanliness of the water or leakage of things into the water in the last 75 years or so. This being forced upon homeowners just seems to be overkill. The monies probably could be put to better use if they were to put a retaining wall on the highway we live next to block the sound. A lot of us maintain in fact, probably most everyone maintains their septic system. Our septic system at our house is 8 years old. We're part-time residents. There's probably 3 or 4 years of wear and tear on that. It cost $13,000+ when that was put in. And now we're gonna have another cost, and I looked at it over a 20-year period. with the installation of a grinder and a hookup now, that will cost me out of pocket over the next 20 years, even if the rate stayed at $100 a month, which it won't. As we all know, those rates keep going up with regards to who has a grinder system. Over $30,000 out of pocket to do something that's absolutely, or appears to be absolutely unnecessary. We would have no opposition, as Lou mentioned in the letter, to having inspections. None of us want to pollute the lake. We've been here for generations. My children are going to be here for generations. My grandchildren are going to be here for generations. There's no way whatsoever we want to disrupt the quality of Saugony Lake. I had a few specific questions, so I'd like to wait till after we hear from later in the meeting on specific things if they need to be addressed, but that was just kind of a general overview of our thought process. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody on Zoom for public comment? Anybody got their hand up?
No, that's me. Open my thing.
Is there anybody else here for public comment? Okay, seeing or hearing none, we will move on to reports, and we will talk about the project. We're not going to ignore you guys by any means. So Steve Carter, you got claims and finance.
Okay, we have year-end financials reconciled as of 12/31, starting with Rolling Prairie, ending balance of $310,649.66. You can see receipts for the year up from the previous year. Expenses are relatively the same, at least operating wise. Of that 310,000, 247,168 is in the operation and maintenance fund, 8,500 in the debt service reserve account, and 54,980 in the bond and interest account. For the toll road account, we have total cash and investments of $518,395.26. Receipts for the year, $332,691. Operating disbursements, $289,455, and $22,120 in interest income. Of that, $518,000, $153,518 is held at the Horizon checking account, which is your operating fund, and the balance of $364,877 is held at the Hoosier Fund. That is your improvement fund. For Hudson Saugony Lake, the remaining balance of the bond anticipation of proceeds at the end of 12/31, $2,128,521.85. $117,153 in interest income for the year, and fees paid out of $571,395. And most of that's still at the Hoosier Fund. There's about $165,000 at Horizon. The balance is in the Hoosier Fund. Claims for the month. We have a total of $26,531.94. All the usual suspects. I really don't see anything on here other than looks like we got a new chemical provider for the Toll Road Plaza plant. But other than that, all the usual bills.
So I see the mowings on here. Is that still being done?
I think those were some past due.
The last two on this invoice are for 11/2 and 11/16.
Okay.
Is that the tree removal, I think, around the well site?
The second one, 11/16, says mowed and trimmed, blue and mulch leaves. That's it. I don't see tree removal on here.
I think that one was already taken care of.
I think so too.
Yeah.
This invoice is dated 11/19.
approve the claims.
Second.
We got a motion and a second to approve the claims. Any questions on the motion? Proceed to vote. All those in favor signify by the word aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Okay, moving on. We have Asbury. What's happening?
Good morning, everybody.
Hey.
Good morning.
We're on site. I just wanted to touch base. I think most of this stuff is in your minutes, but last week we had a water issue when it was really cold. We had a pipe or a hydrant that froze, busted the cap off of it, water everywhere. Calling a couple of different people, DA Dodd, to maybe assist with shutting valves and stuff like that. We had Asbury utility people or locate people out there to locate valves, and we finally did get it shut off the following day, but it was off. And the only thing else I have is I've got things for next month. I think we're supposed to get some generator quotes, maintenance wise for next month. And we'll have a hydrant replacement quote, and Asbury's going to give a quote to improve the as-built, because when we had the current as-builts, we're trying to locate valves and stuff like that, it was not accurate. So we're going to propose that we get improve the as-built maps.
Be a good thing to do before we modify the treatment plant.
Yes. All right. Thank you.
Just one question on the water that it took 24 hours to get out. Where did it go? Is there any damage?
Out on the grass. There is some ice still,
Okay.
but that should go away in the next couple of days.
Good.
Thank you.
Hey, real quick, Chris, on the hydrant, failed hydrant, are we gonna do quotes on that? I mean, is it emergency?
No. It's we're gonna get a quote, and next month we'll give you the quote for the replacement.
Okay.
We'll have two.
Will that go through you or will that go through Jennifer?
It'll go through us, I believe.
Because I would like to give you a list of some contractors locally that do that right here in our backyard.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we've already got a couple. We got Hill, and Asbury has their own.
Okay. I'm
Also.
just gonna provide you with a few as well as the generator contractors as
Yeah,
well.
you would send me an
Oh,
email.
right, yeah.
You wanna forward that to me again, and I
Okay.
was gonna send that over, Chris, I had told Chris about it. And if you wanna send that again, cause Chris had asked for it, and I said that would be great.
Yep,
So that I can provide him
Local.
with that information to get him going on it.
local contractors. Yep, I sure will. Thanks, Chris.
Yes.
And Chris, before you go, seems to me that now that we've operated the system and we took it over, and does Asbury already for us provide? I don't know whether it's a strategic plan, a master plan, or is it a service you could provide for us? In other words, kind of go through and really do a overall review of the system and say, okay, here is what we think you're going to need to be looking at 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. I mean, is that crazy? Is that nobody does that? Or I just think for the board's sake, it would be great to know kind of what we're going to be looking at out there over the course of the next,
As far as
decade.
Water lines or waste treatment lines, or
I guess both. Just kind of here's where we see, just based on time and your usage,
right.
You're going to probably need to be planning on this amount over the course.
Yeah, we could probably provide that.
I mean, I just think that
I
would
think
be a
that's
huge
kind of
help.
what you and I were a little bit discussing, some
right.
preventative and looking at where everything.
I mean, I get you can't control
I can't
freezing
imagine
weather, but
figuring out everything, but as far as
no, but just in general, a system after so many years, you're probably going to need a new generator. You're going to need to change this pipe. You're going to need something with the sludge. I mean, I don't know, whatever.
And we had something, Barry, when we took over the system. We had, I think, JPR and Butler Fairman look at that, and they did analysis on the
does have and maintains an asset management
plan. All right.
What?
the basis of that.
Yeah, we've got a capital inventory, and what I like to see done, and we do in LaPorte is we look out 5 years and we say in year one we're going to do this project or this capital project, and then year two, and then we can budget for that. We know what our capital expenses will be on the way out, And, you know, you gotta review that every year because, you know, no one can see the future, but it's a worthwhile exercise.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
And then, real quick, Jennifer, Chrissy was going to email you something from Ansbury this morning about the line, doing like a locate. Chris, is that what you talked about too? Like where they were going to go through and locate lines and let us know where everything is? There was like an expense or something that she mentioned that you guys could provide.
Yeah, we're going to propose that we go out and locate, especially the lines on the inside of the fences. So we, you know, we'll absolutely have to do that to do those repairs.
Okay.
On the
I haven't
hydrants.
seen it yet, but
So it'll be coming.
Yeah, it'll
maybe
be
our next meeting.
Yeah, it'll be something that
Okay.
you'll have for the next meeting.
Okay.
okay.
Great. Thank
Yep,
you.
I haven't seen it yet, but
Okay, great. All right, moving on to JPR, building collections, liens, permit, inspection fees collected.
only other thing that's not my report is there was 29 liens filed for the tax roll for the Rolling Prairie, but other than that, that's it.
Okay. What's this here? New billing provider? Do we need to take action on that?
Oh, we're going, JPR is gonna continue doing billing, and then we will be bringing some other billing providers. I won't be doing the billing. So we will be working on that within the next couple months to provide some other options for you.
Okay. And are we possibly going to do like requests for proposals again or?
If that's what you wanna do, we can
Okay.
come and we can put that out for bids for you,
Okay.
if that's what you guys would like to do.
Okay.
Yeah, we can discuss it, right? We have a
Yeah.
little time, but I need to go and take care of what I need to take care of.
Yeah, the
Right.
ACH thing, yep. Yep, so we're trying to get all the credit card payments and ACH going directly into the district's Rolling
Okay.
Prairie account.
Good deal. All right,
Yep.
moving on. Phase 2 update. Dan?
All right, thanks guys. With phase 2 update, I reached out to Camille at SRF and she indicated that in order to use up the remainder of grant funds on the phase 2 project, all we really need to do is file for the Hudson Saugony project bills to come out of the
Randy?
phase 2. Yeah. Jennifer, we discussed that at the pre-agenda meeting. Essentially, it's not a rollover of the funds. They've requested that we bill for reimbursement out of the pot from phase 2 with Hudson Saugony.
So if we have an invoice, I just need to file the paperwork with them.
Correct. Yep. So, and then once those remaining grant funds are gone, then that project's complete, and we can
Do we have a
move
balance?
forward on Hudson Saugony.
What's left?
That's all I've got for phase 2 update. Should I move on to Hudson Saugony project?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Hudson Saugony project, I put together a project update memo for you guys. I believe I wasn't at the meeting last week, but at the meeting last week, I believe a potential project with a reduced scope was discussed for Saugony Lake. Did the board actually give authorization to rebid the project at the meeting last week?
Yes.
Yes, okay. All right, so we are currently,
Well, we didn't give authorization, we just decided that we were gonna
Reject.
rebid the contract. We rejected, you guys rejected the bids, and but we didn't actually give authorization to rebid. You guys rejected A and B, I believe.
okay,
How that worked, correct, Barry?
So is that something you want the board to do officially today?
Correct. That's
If
what
you
we need
want-
to officially do today. Right.
if you want, I can walk through the potential project steps here and then we can discuss it before. Okay,
Yeah, that'd be a good idea for us and everyone else that's here.
okay, perfect. So what was discussed at the last meeting was potentially paring down the project scope
Actually,
from,
the motion does say reject all bids and rebid both contract A and B.
okay. All right,
Sorry,
well,
I just looked at the minutes.
with that being said, I'll go into a little more detail then about what that reduced scope project actually looks like. So initially, we bid out a project that served all of Saugony Lake, the lakefront properties, and everything kind of south and west of the lake. And after crunching a few numbers with Crone & Associates, we came up with a potential project that would serve 86 EDUs immediately surrounding the lake. And what we've already started working on adjusting our project plan set to reflect that reduced scope project. Essentially, we're keeping the other lines that were previously designed in the plan set, but kind of showing them grayed out, showing them as future expansion area. We're going to be also designing in T's with valves at key intersections so that in the future phases can be connected onto this kind of backbone sewer that's being built around the lake. The properties immediately on the lake would be looked at as the base bid for the project. And based on bid numbers that we received the first go around, we were expecting the base bid cost for immediately around the lake to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 2.3 million. So with that said, we've also identified 5 areas west and south of the lake that we're going to be deeming mandatory alternate bids on this project, so that if the project bids come in favorably and we have some budget that we'd like to put towards serving a couple of other areas, I've tried to break these mandatory alternate areas up into roughly $200,000 chunks so that we can award as many of them as we deem necessary. That being said, the other thing is we heard from a potential bidder on contract A, which is the force main and wastewater plant work, that there might be the potential for some savings on the project if we go with open cutting the sewer instead of directionally boring it. So what we're looking at doing is maybe doing a mandatory bid alternate on contract A for open cut of sewer. Now, I don't necessarily think that it may result in savings because it's going to add a lot in pavement restoration. Because if you're open cutting sewer along the county roads for the installation of this force main, your excavator is going to be tracking across the road surface and tearing it up. You're going to have at least a 6-foot wide trench through there. So you're essentially talking about restoring full depth pavement replacement across an entire lane, and then doing a mill and resurface of the other of that lane once it's been restored.
That would be a bid item in that alternate?
Yes, yeah. So we're trying to think of how we'd kind of administer that, but we're thinking maybe we have the base bid be directionally boring everything, but then we put in an alternate for open cut if it's going to be able to save some money. The other thing that would do is potentially open the door for some other contractors that don't have drilling crews to bid the project.
Just want to make sure we put the road back because
right.
That's all the residents see at the end of the job.
Yes.
Yeah.
That being said, we're continuing to soldier on with putting these revised plans and specs together, and we will have those complete and ready for bidding by the end of next week on February 7th when the project's going to be re-advertised. Moving on to item 4 on the memo project permitting, to give you a status of the project permits and where we stand on them. The both IDEM permits, the wastewater plant permit and the collection system permit, have both been approved. Everything's been submitted. We're waiting on approval from the South Shore Railroad crossing as part of contract A. That's expected in the next couple weeks. Same goes for the MS4. We're expecting an erosion control permit from the MS4 shortly, at which point we'll be able to turn around a notice of intent on the erosion controlled item. LaPorte County Highway has approved their permit, although I'll be reaching back out to them this week to kind of see if they'd be okay with an open cut. Because that's kind of another wrinkle, and it is the project was permitted with County Highway, indicating that we'd be boring everything. So,
gotta contact them.
And then the LaPorte County Drainage Board permit, that's for a regulated drain crossing on the east side of Saugony Lake. It's been submitted to the Drainage Board, and we're awaiting some approval. Item 5, land acquisition. To give you an update there on where we stand with acquisition of easements. The table under item A is for the full Saugony Lake project, where we stand with easements. under item B would be the table for this reduced scope project. So for the reduced scope project that we're bidding, we currently have 60% of the easements in hand, and we need another 40%. With this rebid, I thought I'd walk you guys through the tentative project schedule, kind of going up until we receive bids. We're looking at re-advertising the project on February 7th and February 14th. We'd be holding a non-mandatory pre-bid meeting again on March 3rd at 9 a.m. I believe in this room, right, Jennifer? Did we determine we've secured this room for that? Instead of the conference room at the health department? Okay.
There's a list of some of the bidders. Did you see it?
Okay.
I did. Let me look at it again.
Yeah, so.
Gave him a list of about 20.
Okay. So the tentative time that we have to receive bids will be March 18th at 2 p.m. In this room, potentially. At this bid opening, we only require one board member present at this meeting. This is essentially a meeting that all we're going to be doing is opening bids and having the engineer take them under advisement. We would then tear through the bids and send the preliminary bid results to the financial advisor the following day.
It's a public meeting, right?
It is, yes, yes. The financial advisor would then prepare the final rate study and present it to the board the following week at the next regular board meeting. That's the regular March board meeting on March 25th. And the engineer would present their recommendation to the board at the same meeting. So basically what we're looking at is you're looking at a 5.5 week bid schedule, which the maximum allowable by law is 6 weeks. This allows bids to be collected in advance of the March board meeting so that we could present it so the board could take action at that meeting. Let's see if. So, in addition to that, I already sent around a form via email to you guys late last week. We put together a prospective bidder list. This is a list of bidders, plan rooms, general contractors, subcontractors that we think may be interested in the project that do work in this area, and the contact info that we have for them. When the project goes out to bid next Friday on February 7th, I'm going to send out a advertisement email to everyone on this list to notify them of the project if they want to move forward with becoming plan holders and taking a look at it. If you guys have anyone you want to add to it between now and next Friday when I send this email out, shoot me a quick email, give me some names and email addresses, and I'll include them on it, and we'll get it sent out to them. I've already heard from a few of you.
Look pretty comprehensive. Yeah.
But it hasn't been updated since we sent you
No,
people.
it hasn't.
Okay.
Our spreadsheet internally has, though.
Okay.
I put those contacts on the spreadsheet. It's just,
Okay.
this was in the board packet already by the time you'd sent those to me on Friday. Yeah, thank you.
So you'll send it.
Yeah. SD.
Oh, I forgot, Marshall. Son of a bitch. How do I?
And if you're interested to see where those mandatory alternate areas are in the rebid, I have a figure here that I can kind of walk through with you if you want to see it, maybe after the meeting's over. But that's all I've got on Hudson Saugony. Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, I think for the rebid, I think it's very important to stress the importance that these contractors meet the requirements of the responsible bidder ordinance. In regards to the apprenticeship standards, I want to make sure that every contractor bidding it has a program and is graduating apprentices as well. So I want to make sure that that's clear.
Okay.
Follow the specs.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody got anything else for Dan?
Yes, just to reiterate the financial part of it, we've got a $5 million grant or loan that can be relieved.
Yes.
And then we've got what from the county?
$1.5 million.
million in ARPA.
And if it comes in with the expected bid numbers, the monthly rate was
100, 103, 100?
We were in the mid-90s with the reduced scope.
Project, we were in the mid-90s.
Okay. And the reduced scope is 86, is that what you said?
Yes.
Homes or
Now
EDUs?
that's 86 plus, I think the, if you include all of the mandatory alternates, you're looking at 91 grinders. So it's, if all of the mandatory alternates which were awarded, which they probably won't be, you'd be looking at 91 grinders. Many of those are shared, but that initial rate was based on 86 EDUs, 86 properties.
Plus some participation by the toll road on the components on the treatment plant side. With respect to the timetable, I think I sent out an email to the group. It looks like we will require on this timetable a special meeting early April, before April 9th. So Randy was going to send out a couple of dates there, but the window's pretty short, pretty narrow, because we have to close by May 9th, and we have to let 30 days expire after rates are adopted. So we're looking at probably somewhere, I can't remember, is it a 10-day or a 14-day period, advertising period? Anyway, that
14, probably.
14. So we're really looking at a couple of days there around April 7th, 8th, 9th that we'll need to have a public hearing to make the timetable work, just so you're aware.
Okay.
Okay, anything else for Dan?
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Okay, moving on to engineering committee. We didn't have a meeting, so. Moving on to new business, next meeting, February 25th. Pre-agenda meeting and then 2022 and 2023 audit. So I gotta go online and sign the gateway before the 31st. Is that correct?
Yeah, so there's a form that you need to submit by the 31st, which is the payroll report. And then once in February, I'll be working on the annual report, and that's due for submission at the end of February. So I'll let you know when I get that done.
So he's got to do one by January 31st, right?
Yeah, that's completed. It's just certifying that you don't have any employees.
Yeah, I got an email for it, so, and then you sent that.
Okay. And then Steve, you have some audit stuff I need from you to get submitted, right? You have time now to get me that?
Yes.
Okay.
I will carve out time this week to address those issues. So yes, last week it wasn't going to happen.
Okay, thank you.
So when's the next meeting?
Okay.
The 25th.
Just so everybody that's here knows, when we bid out the project originally, we were over the engineer's estimate, and something that we've spent a lot of time on this project, and since considering the monthly rate and user fees, and that's something that's very important to this board, and not to saddle homeowners with high cost. But the project was way over budget, so we pared it down, and it's going back out for rebid. But at this point, I mean, this project is by no means going forward. It's just we're getting some pricing and just seeing where we're at. There's a lot of engineering going on, but as far as like kind of an update to answer some of your questions, I mean, I don't know if anybody else has anything to input wise, but we'll be available. By all means, reach out to us, anybody on the board. We want to answer every question that you guys may have and be open and honest. Okay, moving on to old business, interlocal agreement. Is that all taken care of?
Yeah, we're just keeping it on there as a reminder to us that we have a certain time limit after we close on our financing package with the state. That triggers then the time period that we need to go back to the council and actually close and get their funds. So it's just a reminder every month that when we close on a loan with the state, we need to then go back to the council and actually get their money.
Anything else?
No, sir.
I don't know, no.
Motion to adjourn. So moved.
Motion to adjourn.
We got a motion and second to adjourn. Any questions? Mark and Corey?
Hey, they were gonna he had a question, but,
Public comments after the
or questions or anything? I don't know.
It's not.
Well, it's up to the president of the board to do public comment. It is, and generally it's not a question and answer session. That's not what public comment is about. Public comment is about public comment. But I think there's plenty of opportunity for anybody who's here, anybody that's not here, to reach out to a board member. I suppose to the extent JPR wants to be involved, they have more knowledge, honestly, than the lay people on the board, as much as they're pretty experienced, smart people. So there's all sorts of opportunities to have your questions answered, and ask whatever you want to ask.
And you have people here after the meeting, you can talk to them. I don't see why not, because they're going to be a little bit more knowledgeable than we are on some of your specific questions. So if you need to know who is what, or you need addresses or numbers or whatever you need, we'd be happy to give them to you.
Is there anybody here that would like to make a comment after what you've heard today? I guess we can go that route. Otherwise, I mean, just stick around and we could talk about it afterwards.
I would like to say that if anybody has questions about their septic systems, if they don't know where they're at, if they need to help identifying them, we have that information in the health department. It's in this building on the 4th floor. If you have time today, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, we're here. Our direct number is 325-5563. You could call us at any time and ask to speak to somebody in the septic division, or myself. I'm Amanda. And if you need help explaining how to do the exemption with having your septic inspected, we can help you with that and answer those questions as well.
And there are exemptions. That's something good. I'm glad Amanda brought that up.
Which we are working on and processing and reviewing all those currently.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead, come on up.
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
See you.
Thanks. See you.
Again, I'm Mark Hewer, 5791 East Saugana Trail. When we were provided information a long time ago from the engineering firm, there were options that were going to be given to homeowners. So this might be a question after the meeting as well, but are there still going to be options? You mentioned the waiver, potential waiver for 10 years and then 5-year successions up to a total of 20 years. Would one of the options also be, which was presented to us at the Conservation Club, is that you can have the grinder installed, you can have it hooked, you can have it the sewer line put in, but not hook up, and not hook up for up to 20 years. It can sit there, and at the end of that 20 years, you would have to pay back pay of the amount of the debt service amount. So if the monthly is 100 and the debt service amount is 50, you'd pay $50 a month. Is that option still on the table for homeowners if indeed the project were to go forward?
I don't think that is an option.
Well,
that was given to us as an option during the process.
If you qualify for the statutory exceptions.
Exemption, and that you have.
There's a very, and by the way, it's not.
Your mic. There, your mic.
I'm sorry. So, I'm sorry. So it's really not up to the board. The statute says exactly what they can and cannot do and what you can and cannot. It kind of speaks of shall and instead of may. So the exemptions aren't, you can't just install the grinder pump and not take the system for 20 years. You can exempt yourself and waive yourself out of the entire system for that period of years if you qualify for, and I'm not going to go over the whole statute. There's two general categories. One is the size of your parcel. So there's a large parcel exemption, which I think somebody spoke about. They have a lot of acreage. That's a potential exemption. And the other one is there's a whole process, again, set exactly by statute what you have to do, the time limits you have to do, where you go and basically essentially prove that your system meets the requirements of this statutory exception. And if your current septic system qualifies, then yes, you can qualify for 10 years, then you're correct, an additional period of time beyond that, up to 20 years.
You know what that requirement is?
Lazy. I'd like some.
I don't have the statute sitting in front of me. It's, I mean, and
I know.
and it's really,
May is a lot of legalese.
yeah, and it's really less legal than it is.
Yeah.
I mean, people like Amanda and JPR will be far more knowledgeable than I would be about it, but it's very technical about how it qualifies to, get you out of having to tap in.
You first have to put it in writing that you want the exemption when
Okay.
you get the letter, and then you have to have your septic inspected.
Okay.
And then Amanda will check it and see if you qualify, and then the board has to approve it. So that you first have to put it in writing that you want to file for your exemption.
Then what would be our cost at the end of the period if there's a requirement to hook up in 20 years?
I don't know that. I don't know what the costs are gonna be in
And it's
20
open-ended for us. I mean,
Okay,
Yeah.
well, you need to probably.
okay.
So,
Do you have any other questions?
You can go ahead and answer that one.
All right, so the typically, and this is gonna be up to the board to decide as we make final ordinances for this project, because there will be an opportunity for you to adopt an ordinance and include some of this detail in there. But typically, if a property owner is successful in procuring the exemption, we typically leave them out of the project. We will potentially, in some cases, give them an opportunity to actually have the service lead installed from the main onto their property, and then we'll set that valve. The property owner then at that point in time takes on the responsibility of any and all costs left to provide service, including the likelihood of the district adopting a capital connection fee that has a ratcheting kind of multiplier over a certain number of years, and then it kind of stops. But typically there would be a capital connection fee, and then the property owner would also be obligated to buy the grinder pump from the district's authorized supplier, and then have it installed by a qualified installer, and then of course inspected before it goes operational. So and that would be typically part of your operational ordinance. We would incorporate that into the ordinance as the startup begins, and because currently you don't run a low pressure sewer, you run a gravity sewer in Rolling Prairie, so it's a kind of a different animal. So, but there are ways for a property owner, if they're exempt, to not necessarily, they'd never be told you can never connect. We'd say, yeah, you can connect, but here are the conditions within
Right.
which. And that's just one of the things that you accept if you choose to.
Yeah, we do the same thing in LaPorte.
Yeah.
I always make sure I tell the property owner that if the cost to hook up, the cost of the grinder pump and all that is theirs,
Yeah.
and if their septic tank fails, now they got to connect. So
Yeah.
there's a little gamble on their part
Yeah.
if they go that route.
Yeah, and I think the idea of the exemption, the reason it was included in the code that governs regional sewage districts and other rural utilities is that it kind of helps the property owner understand what their obligation is for due diligence. That way, you got a certain standard to meet. If you meet that standard, then you can have the exemption if you want it. One of the things we encourage property owners to do is to look at,
The long term.
make sure that you're predicting appropriately what your cost might be someday, and it may be in some cases, well, maybe I'm just better off to connect. But that's a personal decision. So, but we'll be there to help answer questions through that process. So,
All right, thanks.
Just one question, if this statute that you were mentioning, is it something that we could give them and look it up and?
Yeah, Google it. It was actually it was provided in the
Okay.
statutory notice to every home.
Okay,
The
all right,
statute.
that's fine.
Copy of it
I
was
just
in
wanted
there
to make
and
sure that
insert.
they had that, so if they were giving them some information, they
Yeah,
could
it
look
was
it
in there.
up.
Here knows this has been like a 2-year process.
Thanks, Ken.
Gary even suggests
All right,
putting
we'll
it in
be
there.
available afterwards, but we did have a motion and a second to adjourn, so we'll go ahead and act on that. We lost 2 people.
Afterwards, could you please, because we lost a couple board members.
So if we don't have enough to adjourn, we're gonna have this meeting. They'll never guess till they come back. So next, whenever.
Important if you guys all hear, even I know there's some bit left, but it's important for you guys to all hear, just not these privately.
Okay, you gotta come up to the microphone because it's not on.
All I want to say is,
Your name?
It's Angela Eggleston, and my address is 5311 East 800 North, and that's in Rolling Prairie. But my concern is that people have had estimates to be able to hook up because we have property. Some of them are ranging over $15,000. Are you guys aware? $15,000, and then we have to pay a monthly bill. We can put in a brand new septic system cheaper than that. Do you understand our frustration here?
Yes.
We are very frustrated. And I want you guys to all hear it because you guys want us to talk privately with some of these people. But I think it's more important that you hear everything that's going on.
You're absolutely right. And we did look into extending service further on, and then like we said, we're over budget. So I mean, there's a lot of things that's got to happen first.
Yeah.
And you're aware that this has like been I'm terrible on dates, but at least 3, 4, 5 year project too that we've been in this whole process. So
And I know,
there's a couple
it's
gray hairs here,
exhausting.
too.
It's just that we're kind of frustrated. We live out there because we choose to live out there. We didn't want to be in a subdivision where we had to be tied into public sewage or anything like that. We chose it. We made accommodation. We pay extra to live out there. And now we have this. So this is very frustrating because of where we live. And I don't know if you visited out there. Have you all taken a trip out there to see the land plots and everything else to see why we're frustrated? I think it's important that you do that.
Okay.
All right? And because when we lose power, we're not going to be able to flush our toilets. And sometimes we lose our power for a week. So we want to make sure that we have access to be able to flush our toilet. And if we're with somebody else, we're very limited when we have to share one of those mulching or whatever they are. And we have to make sure that your fandangled system, we are watching the little red light that goes off if there's a problem. And if nobody's there and nobody's out there, we could have sewage backed up into our houses. So I want to know who's going to be responsible for paying for the backup that comes into our homes as a result of this. So I hope this is all identified in everything that's going out to the people. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. We'll proceed to vote on the motion to adjourn. All those in favor signify by word aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned. 10:01, not bad.